everyone, my name is Morgan and this is Lovely Reading. I am so excited for today's video. Today's video is going to be a collaboration with my dear friend April from Happily Ever April. So please make sure to go ahead and check out her video. I will list it in the description. And if you can't already tell from the thumbnail, this is going to be historical romance recommendations. So I am a historical romance junkie. It is one of my top favorite romance genres and one of the first ones that I ever read actually in my teenage years. So I have loved historical romance for a very long time, so I'm super excited to be talking about these books. So an important note that I want to make, Avon is a major publisher when it comes to historical romance, and Avon is a part of HarperCollins. If you're in the book community, you are probably already aware of the HarperCollins strike that has been going on. With this strike, the protesters have asked reviewers that you can still purchase the books, but please just don't review the books until after the strike has been completed. So I went ahead and created a list of books that are not HarperCollins. So that was something that was really important to me in April, was getting options out there for books that are not part of HarperCollins, and so basically books that are going to be safe to read and review right now. I will go ahead and also link any current information that's happening with the strike. I believe we've already hit over 40 days of the strike, which is absolutely ridiculous, and I would hope that shortly after this video is posted, the strike can finally come to a close. But let's go ahead and get into the books. The first book that I'm going to talk about today is going to be The Duke Who Didn't. This is by Courtney Milan. This one is a book where our hero is actually half Chinese, half English, and he's a duke. He actually, in his part of his lands, he is the owner of a village that is filled with Chinese immigrants. So he has actually been visiting this town since he was really young, and this is one of the only places that he has ever been able to feel normal, because he fits in, but no one knows that he's the Duke. So it's just regular people who live in the village, regular commoners, and none of them know that he's the Duke. So he actually has a really good friend, and that is going to be our heroine. So this is a friends to lovers. They have been friends since they were really young, and he has come back to town, and he has decided that he's finally going to woo her because he finally thinks that he's ready. He's been nervous all of these years because he doesn't want his friends in the village to look at him any differently, because he's the Duke, because he owns the village, and he basically wants to be able to keep her safe, because he would, if they were to get married, he would essentially be bringing her into the aristocracy. So he wants her to be as safe as possible. Now in this one, he has come back to the town and he has sought her out, and because he doesn't know how to woo someone, he has gone to her to make a list of his perfect bride and to have her find a bride for him. In this case, the list that he gives her is all of her qualifications. So he's basically described her in list form and given the list to her for her to find him a bride that is exactly like her, which is, by him, he's meaning that, like, I want you. And hilarity ensues. His story is low angst. They're a super sweet couple, cinnamon roll hero, and the heroine is actually a couple years older than our hero. I believe she's like 2 or 3 years older than him. But again, they have been friends since their childhood, so it's just a very, very sweet friends to lovers novel. So for my second book, this is going to be In Which Margot Halifax Earns Her Shocking Reputation. This one is by Alexandra Vasti. This one is exclusive to the author's newsletter, but it is 100% worth it. If you haven't seen it on Bookstagram already, like, I would be surprised. It has gotten pretty popular. In this one, it is a brother's best friend romance, and they're actually traveling. So Margot has a twin sister, and they were trying to rescue her from running off to Gretna Green to get married to somebody that Margot doesn't think her sister actually loves or is the right person for her. So they're trying to go rescue her sister, and the only person that she could think of to go to help her on this rescue mission is going to Henry. And now Henry is an utter cinnamon roll. Like, he is super sweet. He has been pining over Margot for years, and he is a virgin hero. So this was really interesting, getting to those scenes, because in this case, Margot is the more experienced partner. So that was interesting, especially for a historical romance, to have that switch. And then in this one, again, they're traveling, they're trying to save her sister, so all kinds of mishaps befall them, and of course in those mishaps it just throws them together. And it's super sweet. Again, I highly recommend it, and I will go ahead and link the author's newsletter and her Instagram down below so that you guys can go ahead and find this one, since again it's only available through the author's newsletter. For book number 3, this one is going to be Never a Mistress, No Longer a Maid by Maureen Driscoll. This one is a one-night stand where the couple met in the war. So our female character, she actually ran away from home because she wanted to be a nurse that help the soldiers in the war. So she ran away to be a nurse. I believe her uncle was a doctor, so she had like some expertise with helping wounded people. So she ran off. She was working with the company. Well, I can't remember exactly what happened, but she ends up like having, I think she has to run away from some soldiers. She ends up in a cave, and he is actually wounded and in the cave, and they have this whirlwind night, and then they never see each other again. So he tries to find her, he can't find her, and then this is years later, where he's supposed to be getting engaged to someone, and he is traveling to that location to meet his fiance, when he happens upon our female main character as a doctor in this small village, which is right outside where his fiance is supposed to be. So she also happens to have a daughter who is his child. So when it was discovered that she was pregnant, she got disowned. And so this one is a secret baby, but I don't think that she really had a way to contact him, because I don't think she knew his real name. And he tried to find her, but he couldn't find her. And so it is like them figuring out, basically, is he still going to get married? Is he going to be part of his daughter's life? It's been quite a while since I read this one, so I can't remember what else really happens, but I remember this one being just really good, and like they had a really good dynamic. And I'm also one for one night stand to lovers. I just like that dynamic, like meeting up again. I love that, especially because they're like, oh my god, like I just love that instance where they see each other again. So that's always super interesting to me. So for the next book, that one is going to be Her Baseborn Bridegroom. This one is by Alice Coldbreath. The best way that I can describe this one, let me get my notes. I have a quote for you. I'm not nice. I just happen to be in love with you. Really, that's all I probably need to say for this one, but it is marriage of convenience. He is a bastard, and she was actually supposed to be marrying his brother, but his brother backed out. So when he got there to tell her that, hey, my brother no longer wants to marry you, she's like, hey, will you marry me instead? and they end up getting married. It's really, really good. I will say, he isn't as nice as he could be to her in the beginning, um, but she is very naive. So I don't think she realizes some of it is like just him being mean. She's just like, oh, okay. Um, but I really enjoyed this story. I haven't continued on with it, but I like the writing in this one, so I'm sure that I would enjoy any other titles from Alice. So for the last book that I have that is a recommendation that I've already read, this is going to be The Harpy and the Dragon by Marie Liscombe. In this one, we actually have a plus-size hero and a older heroine. So she is about to turn 40, and I think he's just turned 30. And they meet when she gets thrown into the dungeon, and he's been imprisoned for over 10 years for some vile acts that he committed. This one is morality change, so definitely be aware of that. It is very, very dark. There is unaliving on page. There is some situations where the female heroine is abused on page, so just be very careful going into this one, because again, it is a darker book. The hero is a villain, so if that interests you, I would highly recommend this one. Again, he is a plus-size hero and there is pegging, so I don't really know how much more I need to say about this to interest y'all to read it. If you like any of those words, I feel like you're gonna read it. If you don't, avoid. So next part I have is gonna be some books that are on my TBR that I am hopeful to read in 2023. So let's go ahead and talk about those. So the first one that I have is A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall. I know, I haven't read it yet, but I plan to very soon. I seem to be keeping this one as a break in case of emergency book. I really enjoyed boyfriend material. I haven't yet read any other Alexis Hall titles, but I do plan to finish or to start and read husband material here soon. So I really enjoyed Alexis Hall's humor in that, and I'm just really excited for this one, for a historical romance that has a trans heroine. That's super exciting to me. I love that we're getting this representation in our historical romance titles, and especially from like traditional publishing house. So that's super exciting to me. The next book that I have, this book is called Butterfly Swords. This one is by Jeannie Lynn. This is actually a recommendation that I got from Bree at In Love and Words. So she read this book quite a while ago, and it just sounded so wonderful to me. This one, I believe, is Chinese, or Chinese historical. So in this one, she is a runaway princess, and she basically runs into this thief bandit, and he turns into her bodyguard. That's all that I kind of remember, and again, all of those sound right up my alley. Like, I'm super interested in it, and I want to check it out here soon. The next book that I have is A Duke Worth Fighting For. This one is by Christina Britton. This is the third book, and I think her first published series. Now, I did read the first two books. I haven't gotten to this one yet. The main reason that it's on my TBR is because I have an arc of it. But I have really enjoyed her other titles that I've read. They are definitely not a lighthearted read, I would say. They're very much more serious. But the amount of emotion that she's able to pack into these books, I was really impressed with. So I'm really excited for this third one. And this was a widowed heroine, and I think the hero in this one is a scarred hero. So I am super excited for that one. The last book that I have to talk about today, that one is going to be Leaf by Celeste Barkley. This one is wholly a read because my friend Nadia on Instagram loves this author and I'm super interested in reading their works. I will go ahead and link her Instagram down below, and you can see her posts where she's ranted and raved about this author. So that's the main reason that it is on my TBR. I believe this is going to be a Viking romance, I would guess, with him being named Leaf. But if I'm wrong, I'll probably put it on the screen. But anyway, again, thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to go check out April's video and please check out her channel, watch her videos. She's super sweet, super funny. I think you'll really like her if you haven't already watched her videos. So thank you again for joining me. If you want to let me know you were here in the comments, you can go ahead and leave me a sword emoji in the comments, and I will see you guys soon. Happy reading!